In the dead of night, on March 8, 2014, a routine flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing turned into one of aviation's darkest enigmas. Malaysia Airlines flight MH370, carrying 239 souls, vanished into thin air. No distress call, no wreckage, just silence. As we speak, the Indian Ocean whispers secrets the world is desperate to hear. Join us as we delve into the chilling mystery of MH370, where every clue leads to more questions. Are you ready to uncover what might be the greatest unsolved mystery of our time? March 8, 2014. It was a typical evening at Kuala Lumpur International Airport. Malaysia Airlines flight MH370, a Boeing 777, prepared for takeoff, its flight path leading toward Beijing. On board were 239 passengers, each with their own destination, their own story. Everything seemed normal. The engines roared to life, and the plane ascended into the night sky, heading for the horizon. At 12:41 a.m., flight MH370 reached its cruising altitude of 35,000 feet. The crew was calm. The passengers were at ease. But little did anyone know, this seemingly routine flight would soon become one of the most perplexing mysteries in aviation history. Just 38 minutes later, at 1:19 a.m., something unexpected happened. The plane's transponder, the device that communicates essential data to air traffic control, suddenly switched off. In an instant, MH370 became invisible. No warning, no alert, just gone. The plane continued flying, but to everyone on the ground, it was as if the aircraft had vanished into thin air. At 1:21 a.m., all communication from the plane ceased entirely. No distress signal, no emergency messages. The plane, along with 239 people on board, had vanished. As the minutes stretched into hours, panic began to set in. Air traffic control and authorities scrambled, but all their efforts came to a shocking realization. The plane had simply disappeared. No wreckage, no signs of a crash, just an eerie silence that hung over the investigation like a dark cloud. The search for flight MH370 began immediately, but the question loomed large. Where did it go? How could a plane disappear without a trace? What could have caused such a mysterious vanishing? This was just the beginning of a mystery that would shake the world to its core. As the world woke up to the shocking news that Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 had disappeared without a trace, an unprecedented search effort began. Authorities scrambled to locate the missing plane, but the question was, where do you even begin when there's no sign of wreckage, no mayday calls, no communication at all? Initially, search teams focused on the South China Sea, the last known location of the plane. Over 40 ships and planes were deployed to scour the vast expanse of water, searching for any hint of wreckage. But the days passed with no clues, and the search zone grew larger. The mystery deepened. How could such a large plane vanish into thin air? Then in July 2015, more than a year after the disappearance, a breakthrough. A wing flaperon, part of the plane's wing, washed ashore on the small island of Réunion in the Indian Ocean. It was the first tangible piece of evidence that MH370 had indeed crashed into the ocean. But while it provided some clarity, it also raised even more questions. If the plane had crashed there, why hadn't any other wreckage been found? Despite the flaperon discovery, the search continued with little success. Theories began to emerge, some suggesting the plane might have flown for hours after losing contact, but no one could confirm anything. The search area was expanded into the vast remote reaches of the southern Indian Ocean, an area larger than the size of some countries. And so, the search continued. But with each passing day, the mystery grew. How could a modern aircraft simply vanish? And why was it so difficult to find any definitive answers? As the search for Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 stretched into years without any definitive answers, the world was left to grapple with one question. What happened to flight MH370? With no clear evidence, a growing number of theories began to emerge, each more chilling and speculative than the last. At first, many speculated that the plane's disappearance was due to a mechanical failure. Some pointed to the possibility of an onboard fire or catastrophic failure of the plane's electrical systems. If such a malfunction occurred, the plane may have lost its ability to communicate with ground control, resulting in the loss of the transponder and radar contact. But even this theory posed new questions. Why did the plane continue flying for several hours after losing contact? Then there's the possibility of a hijacking. With a plane carrying hundreds of passengers and crew, the idea that someone could have taken control seemed both terrifying and plausible. Many wondered, was the plane diverted off course by someone with malicious intent? In fact, the fact that the plane's flight path was deliberately altered, veering off its planned route toward Beijing, raised suspicion. The question remained, who would have been capable of taking control, and why? Theories about the involvement of the pilots began to surface soon after the disappearance. The plane's captain, Zaharie Ahmad Shah, had an extensive career and seemed like a dedicated professional. However, in the wake of the disappearance, investigators discovered that his personal life was far from ordinary. Some theorists suggested that Captain Zaharie intentionally diverted the plane, flying it to a remote location before crashing it into the ocean. But could this be true? Was it possible that a seasoned pilot, with years of experience, deliberately orchestrated the death of everyone on board? Supporters of this theory point to evidence such as the fact that Captain Zaharie had a flight simulator at home, which contained data suggesting flight paths that matched MH370's final trajectory. However, the evidence remains circumstantial. Was this just a coincidence, or was it a glimpse into a darker truth? To this day, we do not know if the actions of the pilot were deliberate, a result of personal crisis, or something else entirely. Another theory gained traction in the years following the disappearance. Could there have been a more complex coordinated hijacking, perhaps with external forces at play? Some suggested terrorism, pointing to potential links with extremist groups. Others speculated that the plane could have been rerouted, either for political reasons or as part of a planned act of terrorism. Could the plane have been deliberately taken to an unknown destination? And if so, what happened to it after that? As theories grew more elaborate, the investigation became mired in conflicting ideas and speculations. Was the plane hijacked and flown to a secret location, or was it a mechanical failure compounded by human error? The truth seemed to slip further out of reach, with every new theory just adding to the confusion. What was the real story behind the vanishing of MH370? One thing remained clear. Each new theory only seemed to deepen the mystery. With no definitive answers, the world was left to wonder. Was this a tragic accident, a premeditated act of destruction, or something even more sinister? In the years following the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines flight MH370, a series of new clues emerged, reigniting hopes of solving the mystery. But while these discoveries provided fragments of evidence, they only seemed to deepen the puzzle, leading to more questions than answers. In July 2015, over a year after the plane's disappearance, a breakthrough came. A wing flaperon, a piece of the plane's wing, washed ashore on the small island of Réunion in the Indian Ocean. The discovery confirmed that MH370 had likely crashed into the ocean. But the question remained. How could a piece of wreckage drift so far, and why was there so little other debris found? In the following years, more pieces of wreckage were discovered on beaches along the Indian Ocean, but nothing substantial enough to pinpoint the plane's final location. Despite these findings, the vast majority of the aircraft's wreckage remained unfound, leaving investigators to wonder if there were pieces still hidden in the depths of the ocean, or if the plane had somehow gone off course in ways that weren't yet understood. One of the most puzzling aspects of the case is the plane's flight path. Satellite data revealed that after losing contact, MH370 continued to fly for hours, veering off course and heading into the southern Indian Ocean. This suggested that someone had deliberately altered the plane's trajectory, but who and why? The mystery of MH370 remains unsolved, with each new clue adding layers to the enigma. Was the wreckage we found all there was? Or is there more to the story, hidden somewhere in the vast, uncharted waters of the Indian Ocean? As the search for Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 entered its second year, The theories surrounding the disappearance began to multiply. Some were plausible, while others grew darker, more conspiratorial. With no conclusive answers, the question lingered. What really happened to Flight MH370? One of the most widely discussed theories was that the plane's disappearance was the result of a deliberate act by one of the pilots. While Captain Zaharie Ahmad Shah was a respected, experienced pilot, investigators found that he had a flight simulator at home. Data from this simulator showed flight paths that closely mirrored the plane's final trajectory. Was this just a coincidence, or was it a sign that Captain Zaharie had intentionally taken the plane off course? Some experts believe that Captain Zaharie may have hijacked the plane, flying it into the southern Indian Ocean in a final act of despair or anger. They point to the fact that the plane flew for hours after losing contact, and that its flight path was altered in a way that suggests intentional control. But was this theory accurate? Could the actions of one person really explain the disappearance of an entire aircraft? Then there are those who believe the disappearance was not the work of a single individual, but rather the result of a hijacking by an external force. Could it have been a political or terrorist act? The idea that the plane was diverted by a terrorist group, or that it was part of a larger political conspiracy, has captured the imagination of many. Some speculate that the plane was hijacked to be used for another purpose, with the passengers and crew held captive, or the plane repurposed for unknown ends. Another theory that gained traction over time is that MH370 was the victim of a catastrophic mechanical failure. Perhaps a fire or an onboard technical issue rendered the crew unconscious and caused the plane to fly on autopilot for hours, ultimately crashing into the ocean. But this theory, while plausible, doesn't explain the deliberate alterations to the plane's course, which only raises more questions. The fact that there was no distress signal, no clear indication of a struggle, and no solid answers from the wreckage only fueled the theories. Could there be a larger conspiracy at play? Was the truth too dangerous to be revealed? With each passing year, the uncertainty grew, and the theories continued to evolve, each one more chilling than the last. In the end, the disappearance of MH370 remains one of the greatest mysteries of modern aviation. Whether it was a deliberate act, an accident, or something far more sinister, we may never know the full truth. But one thing is certain: the mystery of Flight MH370 will continue to haunt us for years to come. Nearly a decade after the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, the mystery remains unsolved. The case has left a deep scar on the aviation world, prompting major changes in how airlines and governments track and respond to flights in distress. But even as advancements were made, the emotional impact of the tragedy continues to resonate, particularly for the families of the 239 passengers and crew members who remain missing. In the years following the incident, aviation authorities around the globe implemented significant changes in tracking systems to ensure that no flight would ever disappear without a trace again. The International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, introduced new rules for real-time flight tracking, mandating that aircraft communicate with satellite systems even when they lose radar coverage. This was a direct response to the haunting reality of MH370's disappearance, where the lack of a clear signal made the search incredibly difficult and prolonged. The disappearance also sparked changes in the way airlines manage communications with passengers and their families during a crisis. The fear that something so catastrophic could happen without a single distress call or emergency message led to new protocols for handling such situations. But despite these advancements, the pain and uncertainty for the families of those on board MH370 still remain. For the relatives of the missing passengers, the lack of closure has been unbearable. Many of the families have fought tirelessly for answers, questioning every piece of evidence and speculating on the true nature of the flight's fate. While some have moved forward with their lives, others continue to hold on to the hope that one day, the wreckage will be found and the truth will be revealed. Perhaps the most haunting legacy of Flight MH370 is the question that remains unanswered: what truly happened to the plane? Over the years, numerous theories have surfaced, but none have provided definitive answers. And while the search for wreckage has slowed and the world has moved on, the mystery continues to linger in the background, a reminder that even in today's world, some things remain beyond our understanding. For the families, for aviation experts, and for the rest of the world, MH370 remains a story not just of loss, but of unanswered questions that continue to haunt us. The flight's disappearance is a reminder that sometimes the truth can be elusive and mysteries can remain unsolved for decades. As time passes, the legacy of MH370 will not just be the unanswered questions, but also the enduring hope for closure that one day the truth will emerge. The mystery of Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 may never be fully solved, but it has sparked one of the greatest and most enduring debates in modern aviation history. The unanswered questions continue to fuel speculation and theories from people around the world, each one offering a different perspective on what may have happened to the flight. From mechanical failures to hijackings and even government cover-ups, the possible scenarios seem endless. For years, experts, investigators, and armchair theorists have pieced together what little evidence exists, offering explanations that range from the logical to the outrageous. Yet despite all the theories, one undeniable fact remains. The true story behind MH370's disappearance is still out there, hidden beneath the vast expanse of the Indian Ocean. Could it be that the wreckage has yet to be found because it lies in one of the most remote places on Earth? Or is there a larger conspiracy at play, one that the world has yet to uncover? While the disappearance of MH370 remains one of the most tragic and perplexing events in aviation history, the search for answers continues. Every new piece of wreckage that washes ashore, every new satellite image, offers a glimmer of hope that the truth may eventually emerge. But as of now, the mystery endures, leaving more questions than answers. Now we want to hear from you. What do you think happened to flight MH370? Do you believe it was a tragic accident, a deliberate act, or something more sinister? Could it have been hijacked? Was it an inside job? Share your theories in the comments below. We're eager to hear your thoughts. And remember, if you're still looking for answers, there's much more to uncover in our future videos. There are many unsolved mysteries in the world, and we'll be exploring more of them together. If you've enjoyed this video and want to see more investigations into the world's most intriguing mysteries, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click the bell icon so you won't miss our future uploads. Your support helps us bring these stories to light, and together, we can continue the search for the truth. Until next time, stay curious because the truth is out there. Truth is out.